In 2013, we start our video in Helmand, Afghanistan. Gary Cobb is one of the Jackal and #039 spotters. Gary tells Duggan to shoot as soon as he sees the target so they can get out of there. Duggan is unsure if the target is the proper man, though, so he hesitates. Gary, who is frustrated, asks how much longer they need to take, but Doug says they will take as long as it takes. Duggan finally takes the shot after 6 hours of waiting, killing the target, and the team runs away. They play games to relax back at the base. Captain Baldwin casually asks whether anyone would be interested in traveling to Cyprus and offers Duggan a drink. The Jackal celebrates his victory with his teammates in Cyprus as he records the kill on the chart. Yankee almost starts a fight with Gary after running into him while celebrating. Jake then talks to them about their time in Helmand and says he might even give each target £20,000. In Ankara, Turkey, he gives them his card before departing. After successfully carrying out an assassination, Duggan and Gary flee in a waiting automobile. Later, Jake tells them that his friend is quite happy with what they did. Zinke congratulates the two and says they are the best once they collect their cash. Duggan returns to Afghanistan and finds out that Najib Khan, a Taliban field commander who is at a wedding, is their next target. According to Captain Baldwin, Khan needs to be taken alive. Gary and Duggan are tasked with driving Ronnie and supervising the operation. As the remainder of the squad drives up to the compound, Duggan and Gary quickly set up their observation position. To get to Khan, one soldier tries to bargain with the soldiers at the entrance. Gary notices a shooter over the compound during this heated discussion. The soldiers are told by the guards that they are not allowed to enter armed because the deputy governor is inside. Above the facility, Duggan kills the gunman, starting a gunfight. There is gunfire. Before entering and neutralizing everyone inside the wedding, the crew removes the guards at the gate. Given that one of them appears to have lost control once more, Gary and Duggan acknowledge the seriousness of what has just transpired. The carnage shook both guys. In an attempt to hide the occurrence, Walter insists that they make it appear authentic. He reports via radio that they are under fire and trapped down. They are strongly cautioned before leaving not to discuss what happened once they are safe. In the present, an explosion at MI6 headquarters destroys the compound. Vince says he has the file for Alexander Duggan. Osita informs Bianca that access is permitted when she tries to view it. However, the file needs to stay in the room. He must, too. When Bianca looks into Duggan and #039's past, she discovers that Alexander James Gordon Duggan was an officer cadet at Sandhurst. The file focuses on Duggan and #039's involvement in a clandestine special forces unit while in Afghanistan, as well as his remarkable tenacity and sniper training. The entire unit was destroyed in a huge explosion on April 23, 2013, while traveling to a mission. Bianca finds it difficult to believe that Duggan is actually dead, even in light of the official reports. During the aforementioned mission, Duggan observes movement close by and spots a mound with an IED on top. In order to conduct a thorough search for further IEDs, he orders the driver to halt and asks Gary to go with him. As Duggan gets closer to the mound, he finds a kid in #039's tricycle and hands it to Gary Shock. The remainder of the unit is destroyed and Duggan sets off an explosion with a phone. Gary is stunned and asks for an explanation, but Duggan only says that they must vanish and go somewhere they want and #039 be discovered. Through tourist binoculars, the Jackal watches from the shore as the current guards raid about searching passengers for weapons. Xena smacks a machine fiercely in the meantime. She informs him that River would be launched by UDC in 48 hours. End quote. I and #039 am not on vacation, end quote, he responds curtly, and turns to go. The action switches to UDC swimming in the ocean with jet ski-wielding bodyguards on either side of him. Security guards with guns stand guard outside the residence. Bianca Pullman uses the Secret Intelligence Service database to research Captain Mike Baldwin in other places. Later, she pays him a personal visit and discovers that he is bedridden and terminally ill with lung cancer. She asks him questions about what transpired in Helmand after introducing herself as an MI6 operative. She takes the call light remote from Baldwin and #039's hand as he tries to call the nurse, saying that the nurse will bring his morphine after they have spoken. The operation is being shut down, Bianca is told. She and #039's frustrated and insists that she and #039's getting closer to the jackal, asking if they and #039 just expected to concede defeat. Her protests are dismissed by Kirby, who insists she let it go. Bianca wants to continue her argument, but Kirby quickly cuts her off. The jackal, meanwhile, stuffs a number of fictitious passports into his pocket. He starts to pack his things. In another scene, Nuria informs Charles that Alvaro has been interacting with a violent mobster named Jimmy. In a panic, she admits that Jimmy is aware of the funds. Charles promises to take care of the matter. Alvaro tells Charles that the meeting with Jimmy will be held in the Sierra Hotel in L.A., Victoria, when they meet later. Charles says he and #039 go with him. Alvaro gives him a grateful embrace. A boat is borrowed by the jackal. Jimmy, meantime, starts to lose patience at the hotel and starts to wonder if Charles is indeed arriving. Reassuring him, Alvaro says Charles will arrive. Alvaro responds that Charles is worth millions from international finance when Jimmy inquires about his value. While a server replenishes their glasses. She screams as Jimmy abruptly sags over the table. The deadly shot was fired from a boat a kilometer away, as the camera pans to show. The jackal enters room 7 and equips his gun with a silencer as the scene changes. In another scene, Bianca reads a news article about Jimmy and #039's murder while lying in bed. She looks through the intelligence database and finds that the assassin was very skilled and precise. Bogdan is later informed by the jackal that he is attempting to take pictures of the elusive Calandra Lark. He claims to have seen something and begs Bogdan to stop the boat after a short distance. Bogdan halts the boat and turns away. Without hesitation, the jackal cuts his throat quickly. He secures his pistol on a gimbal and starts to set it up aboard the boat. The jackal tests the pistol by shooting at a rock close to the island after finishing the setup to stabilize it. In the meantime, UDC is too exhausted from a difficult night to go swimming like he usually does. Teddy encourages him to continue with his routine in an attempt to convince him. In order to escape suspicion, the jackal sees a drone flying above him after receiving an alert on his cell phone. He poses as a fisherman. In another scene, UDC and Teddy go downstairs and step outside while Keith talks with another individual who is perplexed as to why Brogdon and #039's boat remains motionless. When he sees them, the jackal immediately prepares for his shoot by donning his equipment. A speeding boat passes close by just as he and #039's ready, causing a wave that throws off his aim and costs him the chance. When a jet ski is sent by security to check on deals, the jackal spots it coming and shoots the driver back at the surveillance center. Keith learns that the man aboard the boat is carrying a sniper weapon from a security guard watching the cameras. There is an urgent warning for UDC to leave the sea. He and a guard both plunge under, remaining there for a few seconds. When they surface, the jackal intently observes their actions. Rather from striking UDC, the jackal strikes the guard. Since the sniper 1 and #039 have a clear shot, the other members of the team advise UDC to remain submerged. But the jackal keeps counting, waiting for the ideal opportunity to breathe when UDC finally comes to the surface. The objective is accomplished when the jackal fires once more, striking him in the back of the neck to instantly neutralize him. Using Brogdon and #039's yacht, the jackal escapes while security on jet skis follows. The Jackal is shown trying to flee in a car as he gets closer to a police checkpoint. When he learns they want to check his car, he begins to fear. He panics even more, runs over a cop, and races off when requested to unlock the trunk. A police vehicle pursues, resulting in a fast-paced chase through the city and #039 streets. In the end, the Jackal escapes arrest. In the meantime, Bianca and Isabel Kirby discuss Jimmy in private. A small-time criminal named Trigueros was murdered in Spain. Bianca believes both Trigueros and #039 deaths were caused by the same murderer. But Isabel maintains that the UDC case is over and reminds Bianca of her prior failure, advising her to find another employment if she is unable to move on. Bianca responds by announcing her resignation. The Jackal swerves to miss a youngster on the road and wrecks his vehicle. A Croatian guy later finds the Jackal stuck in his overturned car. He has already contacted the cops, the driver says as he assists him. When the Jackal sees a woman nearby phoning the police, he pulls a revolver on him and snatches the keys to his truck. The automobile explodes a few moments later. After driving to a remote dead end, the Jackal tends to his wounds and transforms his appearance. Then, while watching a couple close to two caravans, he throws a lighted lighter into the truck, igniting it, and pushes it over a nearby cliff. Pretending to be ill, the Jackal approaches Liz and Trevor, puts on a ring, and introduces himself. He says his wife doesn't and #039 want him to drive because she lives in Saffron Walden. He requests a ride and persuades them that the hospital is only 15 minutes away. He agrees to be taken there by Trevor. The couple rides with the Jackal, but after a period of driving, he pulls out a gun when they ask why they Haven and #039 arrived at the hospital. He lets them know that plans have changed. Instead, they are now traveling to the border with Montenegro. He tells them that if they follow his directions, he won and #039 harm them and estimates that the trip will take roughly 79 minutes. Isabel pays Bianca a visit at her home in the interim and provides a possible lead to restart the case. She exhorts Bianca to follow through and resolve the issue. Isabel gives Bianca instructions to kill the target as quickly as possible and maintains that the operation must be carried out without authorization. At the boundary, another police checkpoint comes into view. When they begin to move, the Jackal tells Trevor to take a road to the right. Trevor offers the Jackal a smoke when the camper van stops and asks if he may go outside. Trevor gently inquires during the chat as to whether the Jackal plans to murder them. No, the Jackal says. The Jackal returns to the camper van and declares that it is time to go to bed. Trevor immediately enters the fray as Liz stabs the Jackal in the back with a knife. But the Jackal takes over and shoots Trevor in the stomach before killing Liz. In Cádiz, Spain, Bianca meets Vince Pine and informs him that their operation is completely confidential. Bianca is certain that the target, or at least someone significant to him, will be present when Vince inquires about what they will do if he is not. The Jackal leaves the camper the following morning, right before it blows up. He later travels with the Balkan Bird Tours on a bus. Detective Rishmika informs Bianca and Vince that Tiger was with someone at the time of his murder, but that person was exonerated of any participation and later freed. Rebecca identifies him as Alvaro González Martin when Vince asks for his name, Detective. She adds a picture and tells that Alvaro and #039's sister is wed to Charles Calthorpe, a wealthy man. Vince and Bianca watch Nori from afar. Bianca is adamant that they will wait like the Jackal. Even though it ISN and #039 part of the plan, she is determined to catch him alive. Vince makes an effort to convince her that the Jackal is acting on his territory and is a very dangerous animal. Bianca, however, ISN and #039 going to give up. Nori enters the residence and starts packing clothes and cash. Shortly after, a car pulls up on the property, and Bianca and Vince go to see if it and #039's the Jackal. Bianca suspects that